Hello, class. This is Mr. Hart, and in this podcast, we want to talk about credit scores, and specifically, we want to talk about how your credit score is actually calculated. Okay. And so, in the last lesson, we looked at the different percentages of a credit score, things like your payment history, your amounts owed, those types of things are going to affect it. But we want to look at how it actually gets calculated by the numbers in this lesson and kind of get an idea of how we could kind of calculate our own credit score. But there is a problem because the entire FICO credit score isn't listed. Okay, FICO only lists a certain part of the credit score calculation. Okay, so the FICO score calculation is not published because the calculation is proprietary. Okay, so FICO wants to keep their best interest in making sure that it's not listed, so that that calculation gets associated with FICO. So they have their reasons for not giving away the exact calculation, okay, for security reasons, other things like that. We don't know exactly how that calculation is made, and it also is always changing by a little bit. Okay, there's certain things that are adjusting here and there, and so there's no exact formula for determining what your credit score is going to be. Okay, they told us those percentages that we looked at last lesson, but there's not an exact calculation. Okay, however, in addition to those percentages, FICO does share part of that calculation with us. Okay, only about 350 points worth. Okay, but we will know, they tell us how much of each factor is affecting our scores. Okay, and so we don't know the entire calculation, but we do see a small snippet of it, about 350 points worth of the calculation. Okay, so what we're focusing on today is this activity that we're going to actually do that helps us actually calculate some of these FICO scores. Okay, again, it's not going to be exact because we don't know the entire calculation, but the majority of today's lesson is working with these credit scores. Okay, so let me pull this sheet up. So this is the activity page. Okay, and so they give us this information that FICO gives us is this table right here. Okay, and it's broken down by the different parts we talked about last time: payment history, outstanding debt, credit history length, pursuit of new credit, and types of credit. Okay, and it doesn't look at everything in those topics, but it gives us one key factor in each subject. Okay, so in payment history, they're going to look at specifically number of months since a missed or late payment. Okay, so that's not the only thing they're going to look at in payment history, but one of those things is going to be the number of missed payments. And so if you've never missed a payment, for example, you have no public record of any missed payment, then you'll get 75 points in this category. Okay. If you missed one really recently, it's only been 0 to 5 months, then it drops down to 10 points in this category. Okay. 6 to 11, 15, 12 and 23, 25, right? It's just on and on, right? So it tells you based on each one of these specific topics how many points you would get based on your financial status. Okay, so in this example, if someone had never missed a payment, they'd get 75 points. Okay, then the outstanding debt, they're going to look at your average balance on credit cards. Okay, now again, that's not the only thing they're going to look at, but that's one of the main factors they're going to look at. Okay, if you don't have any credit cards, then you get 30 points in this category. If you have no balance on your credit cards, then it's 55 points, right? So you have a credit card, but you don't spend it or use it, then it's 55 points. If you do have a credit card and it has a balance of about $1 to $99, then you get 70 points, and so on and so forth, right? So you look at your average balance on all your credit cards, and then you would get the associated points. Okay, and it goes on. So credit history, number of months of having a credit line, so that's what it should say, of having credit. If it's been less than 12 months, then it's only 15 points. If it's been 12 to 23 months, about a year, then you get 35 points, and so on and so forth. Okay, and so each single category, every individual category has one topic that they're really going to look at. Okay, and again, that's not the only thing, but that's just kind of giving us an idea of some of the things they're going to address when they calculate your FICO score. Okay, so for this activity, we're going to assume that the first 500 points have already been calculated, and they get exactly 500 points. So, that's going to be an overestimate. There's no way that everyone's going to get 500 points in the first part of the calculation. But for this activity, we're just going to focus on that. Okay? And then you're going to use this table for the next 350 points. Okay? So that's kind of the idea behind the activity. You look through, you assume that they start with 500 points, and then you kind of look through this table, and you say, okay, they should get this many points in this category, they should get this many points in this category, right, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's just look at one example. Okay, so it says Tracy has had a credit card for 2 years. It is her only credit line, and she only has $50 of debt on it. She has never had a missed or late payment and has not applied for new credit. What is Tracy's approximate credit score? Okay, so again, we don't know the entire calculation, so we're going to assume that she gets 500 points. Again, that's probably an overestimate. Okay, but let's go from there. So it says Tracy has had a credit card for 2 years. Okay, that's going to be in the length of credit history part. Okay, it is her only credit line, so that's going to be in the types of credit lines part. She has $50 of debt on it, so that's going to be in the amounts owed part. Okay, and she has never missed a payment and has not applied for new credit. So missed payment is going to go in payment history, and not applied for new credit is going to be in the number or pursuit of new credit part. Okay, so basically all the information here is giving you some information that goes to the table. Okay, so let's just kind of go through the table, and we'll see all these different parts. Okay, and I'm just going to keep a tally on the side of how much she should be getting in each category. Let me do that in red. Okay, so first of all, we're going to start off with 500, right? Every calculation is going to start off with 500. Again, it's an overestimate, but we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Okay, so it says she has never had a missed or late payment. So that's going to be no public record. So that's going to be 75 points in that category. Okay, so she's never missed a payment. So she gets 75 points in that category. Okay, outstanding debt. The average balance of credit cards. So it says she had $50 debt. So that's going to go in this category right here between $1 and $99. So that's going to give her 70 points. Okay, so we're going to add 70 to that. Okay, and then if we scroll down, okay, length of credit history, she said she had that credit line for 2 years. So the number of months of having a credit line or a credit card, that's in the 24 months range. Okay, so she's going to get 60 points in this category. Plus 60. And then the number of credit inquiries in the last 6 months, it says she hasn't applied for any new credit, so that would be 0 inquiries, so she's going to get 70 points in that category. And then last of all, types of credit lines, it says she only has one credit line, and it's that credit card, so she's got one, so she's going to get plus 25 in that category. Okay? Then all we do is we just add those all up. So 500 plus 75 plus 70 plus 60 plus 70 plus 25. Okay, add up all the totals for those categories. Okay, and then you get their approximate credit score. Okay, if I remember correctly, you add those all together and you get 800. Okay, so all those together gives you 800 for her credit score. Now again, that's probably an overestimate by 30 points or so. Okay, it's probably more likely going to be around a 770, but there you go. That's the idea. Okay, that's the highest credit score she could get. It's probably an overestimate, but it gives us an idea of what they're looking for, and we can kind of calculate what range we should be for our credit score. Okay. All right, let's look at another example. Okay. So right here it says Candace Curley has a credit score of 730. She makes a late payment on her credit card. What will her credit score be next month? Okay, so it already tells us her credit score, so we don't have to calculate it. Okay, but we're looking at what's going to happen because of this late payment. So she started with 730, but she makes a late payment. Okay, so if we go back up here in payment history, it says the number of months since the most recent missed or late payment. This went from no public record, never missing a payment, to, oh, she just barely missed a payment. Okay, it was very recently that she missed a payment. Okay, so now instead of having no public record and going from having 75 points in this category, she now just barely missed a payment, so she's going to drop down to 10 points in this category. Okay, so she dropped down from 75 to 10. okay, that's a 65-point drop right there, right? So you would expect your credit score to drop by the same amount. So if it was at 730, it's going to drop by 65, okay? So now it will be 665 is her new credit score, okay? Because she, assuming nothing else changes, that category dropped by 65 points, so her score is going to drop by 65 points and give you 665 as her new credit score, okay? All right, and again, this gives us a lot of interesting information, okay? Notice some things, even without doing the full calculations, okay? Keep in mind, right, look at this payment history category, okay? It's very interesting, as you just saw, just missing that one payment dropped your score by 65 points, okay? That's huge, okay? I mean, eventually it will recover, but those missed or late payments are going to kill you on your credit score, okay? And we can see that based on this table. Another really interesting one is right here on outstanding debt. Okay, if you don't have a credit card, it's 30 points. But if you have a credit card and never use it, you get 25 more points just for owning the credit card, even if you don't use it. Okay, and then also you get 70 points if you have a small charge on it. Usually you would think, oh, less debt, more points, right? But they want you to have a small charge on your credit card to get your credit score up. Okay, that's why I always say, you know, get a credit card, swipe a tank of gas on it, buy a video game, buy a movie, something, and just make those payments because they want to see that you can, you know, pay on a credit line. Okay, and so very interesting to see, hey, having a credit card with just a little bit on it is better than having a credit card with nothing on it or not having a credit card at all. Okay, so there's a lot of information you can get from this table. Okay, even if it's, you know, doesn't give you the full calculation, you can still learn a lot by analyzing this table about how they're going to look at your credit score. Okay? But there you go. That's the activity for today. So you'll just be using this table to answer all the questions on this sheet. Okay? It is also on the website. You can download it from there. The table's on there as well. But that is all we're pretty much doing for today. So let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for watching.